to see you were able to find this video. I'd also be glad to hear from you. Let me know what you want to see or what you're having trouble with so that I can make content that's useful and meaningful to you. With that said, let's jump right in, shall we? So this is the first video in our next video series called A Brief Look at Space. And this is the introductory video, so this is going to give us an overview of what we can expect through this video series. Our main objectives is to understand the different objects in space, know what planets we have in our solar system, and have an understanding of how humans have studied space. The point of this is not really to make sure that you are an expert in astronomy. The point of this is to see if maybe you would like to learn more about astronomy. It's just a high-level, brief look at space to see if this is something that interests you and if you'd want to learn more about it. So some prerequisites before we go ahead and start looking at some of the details and some of the modules that exist in this video series. You should have a really high-level understanding of chemistry. We're not going to look at any equations or try to solve anything like that, but you should have an idea of what the different elements are and what the different states of matter are, because when we start talking about stuff in space, we talk about what they're made of and what state they're in, because that's how we can tell different things apart from each other. Something else you're going to want to understand is have a high-level understanding of physics. Again, we're not solving equations. There's nothing I want you to calculate. Really what we're talking about is gravity and how it works. So really high-level stuff. I'm not asking you to be an expert in any of it. To try to help, just to make sure that you have an idea of what we're talking about, and if you don't, you can always come back to these study aids for reference. I have a link to the periodic table, and this is a really cool little table that I like. It's pretty interactive, and you're able to go in and actually hover over the different elements, and they give you lots of information about what each one is. Along with, there's a link to NASA where they talk about what gravity is, which is also pretty helpful. And I'll just quickly look at them. So here, this is the periodic table I was talking about, and it has all of the different elements that exist within the periodic table, and you can go through them all and figure out what they are, what their orders are. So if I start talking about some of the different elements and you're not sure what they are, you can come back to this and get a little bit more of a detail on what that is. And I do suggest reading what gravity is before going into the video series, because we're going to talk about how different things interact with each other in space, and so you really need to know what gravity is and how gravity pulls on things and how gravity affects other things that are around it. So this is just a short little thing. It's not very long, and it gives you some idea as to what gravity is and how it works. I do suggest going through those, and there'll be links in the description below for you to go through too. Continuing on, we're going to talk about the schedule of how you can expect the videos to come out. So we're going to do Tuesday and Thursday videos. Tuesday, we're going to go in and look at some new concept. We'll talk about whatever the idea is and explore that with some practice exercises given at the end of the session. So that way we have some points to discuss, some things to think about. And again, there's not any going to be calculations. It's more just seeing if you're retaining the information that we're talking about. Thursday, we're going to do a high-level review of what we talked about on Tuesday, but more importantly, we're going to take up the exercise questions that I left at the end of the Tuesday video. And of course, we'll close it all off with a quick little summary to make sure we understand what that module was talking about before we move on to the next module. The agenda for this module, we're going to have 6 different videos. We're going to do objects in space for our first one. So we're going to talk about all of the different things that you can find in outer space. Then the second we're going to be a little bit more specific, and we're going to look at specifically our solar system. What can we expect to find in our solar system? And what are some neat things that we should just generally know about our solar system? Then we're going to flip into the history of space exploration. What have we learned, and how long did it take for us to learn these things? Because sometimes it's really interesting how science evolves. People might think that this was correct, and as we go through and our technology gets better and we're able to test more thoroughly, we'll learn different things about the solar system as we go through. And then we'll go into what's currently going on in space exploration today. So we're going to look at what different missions are currently being undertaken and how they can possibly affect us as humanity moving forward. Week 5, we're going to do a look at the future of space exploration. We've now looked at where we've come from, what we've already known. Where are we going to continue to go? Where is space exploration going? What are we planning on trying to learn moving forward? And then week 6, we're going to do just a Q&A. So if you have any general questions that aren't specific to any one of these modules, or if I think they're really a great question that I think everyone should see, I'm going to try to add it into the week 6 so that way everyone can see what the answer is. Our next video is going to be our lecture portion of the video, and we're going to look at objects in space. So we're going to talk about all of the different things that you're going to find in outer space. Maybe not all of them, that we could be having a long list, but generally so we can have conversational ideas as to what the different objects in space are and how they are different from one another. You know I love to hear from you, so if you have any questions or any future topic ideas that you would like to see, let me know. Reach out to me in whatever channel suits you best, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video.